Hello there everyone, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be showing you how to make Gandalf the Grey from the Fellowship of the Ring. This is my third video in the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Ring series. By the end I will have shown you how to make all 9 members of the Fellowship. I already have a video done for all 4 hobbits, so go ahead and check that out if you're interested in making them. Alright, so this guy was actually my very first Lord of the Rings figure that I made over a year ago. So while your final design is going to look relatively similar, there's going to be a few changes in the beard and the sleeves, just so that it can be made on one loom. He also has a cape, which you don't have to add on, but I like it, so I'll also be linking a video that'll show you how to make a cape. So the first thing you should do is check the description for the exact band counts. I have gray for his outfit and hat. I'm going to use silver for his beard today actually, and then some skin tone of course, and then a couple of brown. So check the description for that exact band count. Alright, the other thing we are going to need is a couple of little black beads for the eyes and then a piece of dental floss to use for threading. You can always use black wrapped bands, or even in Gandalf's case, you can just leave the eyes out because they're so far down in there you can't actually see them very well, so you could leave them off as well if you wanted. Alright, so to thread the eyes, I'm taking the dental floss and a skin tone band. Oop. This one really wants to stick to my finger. Okay. And thread the dental floss through the band, like so. Now fold the piece of floss in half, taking both ends in your fingers. You can kind of twist them together a little bit, and then take your beads and thread it over both ends of the floss. So not used to actually having long nails. And okay, so we've got one and then the other. Okay, so then push the beads down all the way till they slide over the band. Okay, so set that aside for now. The other thing we're going to make beforehand is actually the rim of his hat. So this piece is detachable, so it's basically a magic ring if you've ever done Looming with a bunch of stitches around the outside. So if you know how to do Looming, it should be pretty easy. I'll try to show it as, break it down as best as I can, but it's also not my specialty, so I'm not the most proficient at explaining it. So we're basically going to be using one gray band as a cap band. So don't twist it, just slide it onto your hook, and then take another gray band, sort of place it in the hook of your band, and then around, or the hook of your hook, and then the other end in your finger. Take the single band that we already placed onto our hook over onto this band. So now move the end that's on your finger. So you might have to hold this loose one back a little bit, and then grab this loose end on your finger and place it onto your hook. So hold this cap band loop off to one side, and then we're going to pull the end gray loop, or the end loop that's on our hook, through the one underneath it. I'll show you that again. So you're going to grab the top loop, sort of twist your hook, and pull it through the bottom loop. Okay, so don't pull this super tight, leave it a fairly loose slip knot. Alright, so now this loop that you're still holding, put your hook back into it, pick it up again, like this. And so now you'll have 2 loops on your hook, so keep holding this loop out to the side. Carefully grab another band, place it into your finger and through your hook like we did before, and you're going to pull it through just the first loop, and then reclaim the end that's on your finger. So at all times holding this one that we started using as a crossover, or a cap band. Now there's 3 loops on your hook, so pull the first loop through the second and third loops. So what you've done is made a slip knot and then attached it to the other one. So don't pull this super tight again. So now we're going to repeat this a few more times. A few more by like 10 more times. So then you still have the single loop on your hook. Pick up the big single loop we use as a cap band. Go back in through it again. We're going to pull another single band onto our hook and around our finger. Pull it through the first loop. Reclaim the end, so now we have 3 loops on our hook. Now pull the first loop through the second and third loops. Okay, so you should be able to see how it's sort of starting to make like these stitches wrapping around this band. So it's sort of, think of it like the spokes of a wagon, I guess, or a spiral in a way. So you have 1 loop on your hook again, so go back through our main cap band loop. So now there's 2 loops on your hook. Keep holding the cap band with your thumb to the side. Pull up another band around your hook and your finger, pull it through the first loop, reclaim the end, pull the first loop through the second and third. Alright, so that's 4 bands that we pulled through, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're going to do it a total of 12 times. So pick up the big loop, pull another band through, reclaim the end, pull it through the second and third. Go in through the big loop, pull up another band through, reclaim the end, pull it through the second and third. Go in through the big loop, pick up another band, pull it through, reclaim, pull it through the second and third. Go in through the big loop, pull up a band, reclaim, pull it through the second and third. Go in through the big loop, pull up a band, pull it through the second and third. In through the big loop, pull up a band, reclaim the end, through the second and third. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, we're going to do 2 more. We're going to go back through the big loop, pull through a band, reclaim the second and third, go in through the big loop, pull up a band, reclaim, pull it through the second and third. Alright, so 12 is about an estimate. If you need to use 1 or 2 extra or fewer just to kind of get it to make a nice circle like this, go ahead and adjust that as you need to. Okay, so to finish this off, we have the loop that's on our hook, you can see is attached here around the main cap band loop. So then to the right of it, you can see there's these 2 loops that are making up the first stitch that we did. So, and then you can see the top part. Okay, so there's the 2 that are wrapped around here. So just go to the left a little bit to these 2. Put your hook under these 2 loops. Pull a single band through all 3 loops on your hook. And reclaim and tie in a slip knot. Alright, I'll slow that down a little bit, sorry. Okay, so you have the loop on your hook. You can see where they're attached to the main cap band here. So go to the left till you find these 2 loops that are attached around them. If you were left-handed, maybe you did it the opposite way around, but just go back to the first stitch you did. And then go up slightly to these 2, just to one to the side of it. Go under these 2, pull another gray band into your hook, pull it through all 3 loops on your hook, reclaim the end, pull the top one through the second, pull tight. Okay, so this is going to make the brim of our hat, so it'll go on something like that. Alright, don't worry about that now though. Okay, the other thing we will make is his arm. So we're going to need gray bands and then a couple of skin tone for his sleeve. So take 2 gray bands at a time, and we're going to go down on the left-hand column 5 times. So take 2 bands, placing them together, just go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 times. So push this down a little bit. Okay. And so now we're going to go to the second pin on the right hand side, and we're going to place single bands diagonally towards the right. So take a single band and place it from the second on the right to the third in the center. Then we'll go from the third in the center to the third on the right. I may have got my words mixed up there, but it should look like that. Okay, so then we're also going to drop a band on this third on the right pin. Just set it on and leave it alone. Okay, so now we're going to go down from the second and the third pin in the center. Take single bands and go down once to the fourth, then from the fourth to the fifth, fifth to the sixth. And then on the right hand side, take single bands from the third pin and go from the third to the fourth, fourth to the fifth, like so. Okay, so now we're going to do diagonal bands going upwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the left hand side. No, we have to start on the right hand side. So on the bottom where we placed here, which should be the fifth pin, we're going to go diagonally towards the left and then diagonally to the left again. Alright, so it should look something like this. It should be more or less like triangle shaped this way. Alright, now we're going to go back to the left hand side and we're going to take 2 more gray bands and place them here. Alright, so we're going to do crossover bands. Where did I put them before? Okay, so we're going to put them around these pins, so the fifth pins. No, I think we just need one around the fourth. So on the fourth row down, make a triangle. Crossover band like so. Okay, so now we're going to cap it off with a skin tone for his fingers. So on this bottom pin here where we place gray, wrap a skin tone band around 4 times. Alright, so now we can begin looming it. So go in through the cap band and loom forward 1 time. Those double loop, or that double gray band. So now we're going to loom the diagonal one. So go in, grab that top single band, and loom it to the right towards where it came from. Go in here and loom this gray band also to the right. Okay, so now we can loom forward these 2 single bands. So in the right hand column, go back in where we finished looming, loom forward once, twice. Now we can also go into the middle column, so where we loom this diagonal band in, go in through there, loom forward 1, 2, 3 times. Okay, so now we have to do something a little bit weird, maybe? I don't know what the word is. So, what we're going to do, find the 5th pin on the right, so it should be this one, sort of the bottom pin on the right. So put your hook in through it from the top and then push it down to the side. Grab a single gray band. I'm holding my loom and then placing this band around my finger like so. Now pull this band up through this open space. So it could be you place your hook like through where the pin is too, that's also good. Grab the band, pull it up, and then whoop. Okay, so band around your finger, stab in through where the pin is, grab the band, pull it up through, and then reclaim this end. So now you have a band sort of pulled in through, pulled around this stitch. So we're going to do this again. So just keep those 2 loops on your hook. Put another band around your finger, grab it on your hook, pull it through the 2 loops that are still on your hook, and reclaim the end. So now we don't have to pull up a new band. We're going to grab this loose one that's hanging around this 3rd pin. So grab it, pull it through everything on your hook, and then place that top loop back over the pin. So if you do have a second loom, there is a way to do that that's much easier, but that was kind of for the single loom users. If you had another row, you could have just kind of continued the diagonal down this way, but that was the easiest way I found to do it with 2 looms, or 1 loom. If you really can't figure it out, just leave this extension piece off. His sleeve will be not quite as long, but it'll still look fine without it. So that extension piece is optional, but if you can figure it out, I think it makes his sleeves look much bigger and frillier, and I like it, but you can also leave it off if you find it too difficult. Alright, so I'll finish looming the diagonals, so go in through the right hand pin, the third pin, and we'll pull through that bottom band, loom it diagonally to the center, go in through here, and then from the center diagonally to the left. Okay, so now we're going to come back to the bottom, so we have our cap band, and then the one that we loom forward, so go in through this pin, and we're just going to loom forward these double gray bands normally, push back any crossover bands or other these diagonal gray bands, just push them back as though they were crossover bands. Ooh. And grab those last two and loom them forward. Great, so now we can pull this off of the loom. Go ahead and repeat the video and make a second one. You can make it exactly the same way, you don't have to like mirror it or anything along those lines at all. Just like this. Great. Okay, so make a second arm and then come back to the video when you have two. Once you have made both arms, we can now begin looming the body. So we're going to start out with two skin tone bands. We're going to place them in the center column from the first to the second pins normally. Then we'll take two gray bands and on the second pin, place diagonally from the center to the right side, and then from the left to the center as well. Like this. So now we are going to take two gray bands and we're going to place them all the way down on all three columns. So take two gray bands and from the second pin to the third pin, from the third to the fourth, and so on till you get all the way to the bottom of the loom here. So I'm probably going to fast forward through it just because this is super repetitive and will take quite a bit of time. Okay, so I have finished placing the right hand column, so come back up to the top and we're going to do this on the center and the third pin as well. Second to third, and third to fourth. And last one. So from here we have placed double gray bands down the entire loom. So I hope that makes up for the trickiness making the hat rim. So you can push it down a little bit, but it's not going to matter too much. So now we can place crossover bands normally down basically the entire thing. I'm going to double loop one of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, the fourth one down. But other than that, it's basically the same. So around the third row, we're going to place a single band across all three pins like a triangle. 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do this going down. So the fourth one we're going to place, but we're going to pull it out to the side, twist it over itself. I'm going to put my finger here to hold it, and wrap it around itself, around all three pins again. Okay, so then we'll continue placing single bands down all the way to the bottom in triangles. Okay, so then for the last one, we're going to do something slightly different. So you can place your triangle normally, but this one's hanging out the end. So just to tuck it up inside the figure, grab this bottom loop and move it over that center pin. Okay, perfect. So now we can place his arms. So I didn't actually tie off his arms with anything, I just left the 4 loops open. You could have tied them or held them with a toothpick or something, but I didn't, so Sorry for not mentioning that earlier. So pick up all 4 loops from your arm and place them on the second pin from the top. So make sure when you place them that the double loop or the double banded row is on the top, and then the extra single bands are sort of on the bottom. Alright, we're going to place the other one. I like to flip my loom sideways. Grab these loops. Make sure that the arm is facing the correct way with the sleeve underneath. Place those 4 loops onto the second pin from the top. Sweet. Okay, so now we can start looming it. Pretty easy, I know, right? Okay, so on the bottom, we're going to use this crossover band sort of as a cap band, essentially. So go in through it, push it back. So on the first bottom pin, push that crossover band back. Push the crossover band back, grab those 2 loops, and loom them forward. So it's not going to be a particularly tight stitch, but it will hold. So then go back in through this pin, push that other normal crossover band back, loom forward, push the crossover back, loom forward, and we're just going to repeat this till we get to the pin with the arm on it. So, a few more times. And the joys of like simple figures is they're also kind of repetitive and boring. Alright, so last one. So we're going to loom, up this last one to where the arm is. Now there's just going to be one little step I want to do. So if you look, it is optional though, so you can just dig through and loom, but I prefer to do it this way. So on this pin you have the 2 loops from the top of the stitch, and then you have the 4 bands from the arms, which are in 2 and 2. So go ahead and grab that top 2, so that's the 3rd and 4th pin basically, the second set of 2 on this pin. So there's the 2 for the ones we just loomed on, then there's 2 together and 2 together that are the arms. So grab those top 2 that were from the arm, from the outside of your loom, and pull them out a little bit, and then down around the band that's that we loomed onto that pin, and then just drop it. So we've just moved these 2 loops forward onto these 2 loops, which is going to help the arm lay flat rather than like sticking straight out the side. Okay, so now you can go in through this pin, pull back till you find those bottom 2 loops, pull them out and loom them diagonally to the center. Okay, so then we can come back to the bottom. If you want, you can take this single band off of that, what's it called? Right hand pin. So we'll go in through the cap band, crossover band on this side, loom forward. It's going to be really loose, but it's going to hold. And then push normal crossover band back, find these 2 loops, and loom forward till we get to the arm the same way we did on the other side. So I'm going to fast forward through this a little bit. Now we have loomed back up to the second pin on the left hand side. So we're going to do the same thing that we did on the right side. So we have the 2 bands on the top that we just loomed onto the pin, and then right below that there's those 2 loops that are coming from the arm. Grab those 2 loops from the arm and pull them up over the pin and drop them so that they're sitting around these 2 loops. Again, that is an optional step. I just prefer the look of it a little bit better. So now, push everything back, grab those 2 bottom gray bands and loom them to the center. Okay, so now we can loom the center row completely normally. So the crossover band is sort of going to be above it. This is also going to be a really loose stitch, but just grab those 2, fold them over themselves normally. And then we can go up the center normally as well, just grabbing those 2 loops, looming forward, forward, all the way to the top. Okay, so till we get to here. Sorry, I keep getting out of focus today, or out of the shot today. Okay, so then we're going to dig through all of these 6 loops, gray loops, to find those 2 skin tone bands. Pull them up, and then just loom them forward. So if you want, you can take like a scrap band, like an extra band, and tie it, or a toothpick or something. It's not going to fall apart though. So just take your Gandalf body off of the loom. So then carefully we carefully took him off of the loom, so he's going to look something like this. So kind of need to squish him out a little bit, readjust some things. Go ahead and do that. I will show you how to make his belt relatively soon. It looks a little naked without it. I'll do that at the end though. Great, so there's the body, and now we can move on to making the head. Now we will move on to making his head. The first thing that we need to make for his head is actually his beard, which is attached on afterwards. So I'm using silver for his hair this time. You could use white like I did for my other ones. I just wanted to try to see how the silver looked on this time. So we're taking single silver bands, and I'm going to place them from the second in the center to the top on the right hand side, and then from the center to the left hand side as well. So from here we're going to go down with single bands 4 times in the center, starting from the second pin here. So we're going to go from the second to the third, third to fourth, fourth to fifth, and 5 to 6 here. Okay, so then on the outside, we're going to go down. I'm just going to double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to go down 4 times as well on the outside. Starting from the top, go down once, twice, 3, and 4 times. And then we're going to place a diagonal here to connect these 2 columns. Sorry. Then on the other side, we're going to go down 4 times again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5th one connecting the left to the center. Great. Okay, so now put a hat band here on the center pin. I'm just going to wrap it around just twice so that there's 2 loops, and then we'll do crossover bands. I'm going to do them starting from the 3rd row. The 3rd row in a triangle, and the 4th row. I think that's it. Yeah, that should be all that we need. So then go in through the cap band, and we're going to loom these diagonal ones to the first diagonal one to the left hand side, and then we're going to loom this forward 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, we'll go back in through the cap band and loom the other diagonal back to the right hand side, and then forward 4 times to the top. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sorry, my camera's in a different spot than I'm used to it being. Okay, so then back through the cap band and loom forward in the center column 4 times. Okay. So then we're back to this center pin here, and we're going to go in through it, grab the top diagonal band, and then loom it back to whichever side it came from on this side. So we have two open ends on both sides. So I'm going to take like some random band. I'm going to use these pink ones. And just go in through the top pin, pull it up, reclaim this end, pull this one through here, and I'm just going to tie it in a relatively loose slip knot so that it'll hold for now, but we can take it off later when we attach it to his face. We go in through this side as well, grab this pink band, pull it up through, this loose slip knot. Okay, so pull this guy off. Sweet. He has a beard. Okay, so now we will place the bands for his hat. So normal gray bands. Placing them together, two at a time, starting in the center. We'll go down once, and then we'll go down from this second pin in the center to the third pin on the right side. Repeat this on the left, from the third on the left, second in the center. And then we'll go down in the center, from the second to the center to the third in the center. Then from the third to the fourth. How many times does this go down? And then fourth to fifth in the center. On the sides, we're going to go down from the third to the fourth, with two gray, fourth to fifth. Repeat on the other side, third to fourth, fourth to fifth. Okay, so it should look something like that now. So we're going to switch to skin tone and lay the bands for the face normally. So starting from this pin, we're going to go down twice with two skin tone at a time. And then from this pin, where we stopped placing gray, we're going to place skin tone once going down, and then diagonally to the center. Man, those gray really don't show up very well. Skin tone down once, and diagonally to the side. Sweet. Okay, so that's our head layout with the hat as well. So we're going to do crossover bands. Where did my gray... Oh, there they are. So, done with skin tone. On the third row, we're going to place a crossover band, but this one's going to be double looped. So pull it out to the side again, twist it over itself, wrap it around twice. And then right below that, on the fourth row, we're going to place a single gray. And then below that, we're going to place our eyes. So take the band where we had our eyes on, grab the ends, and we're going to place it around these. So it's kind of the second from the bottom, I guess, I don't know. Here. So then we're going to spread these eyes apart. Just use your hook. Grab one of those two eye bands, pull it up a little bit, and wrap it around the center pin. Like so. Okay. So now we're going to need Gandalf's body. So grab these two skin tone loops at the top, or loose ends. So it's from the 7th pin from the top of the loom, the bottom of where our face is. Wrap all 4 of these skin tone loops around, and just kind of push them down so it's not going to go anywhere. So if you need to like squish his body like down between the pins a little bit so that it's not going to go anywhere, go ahead and do that. So now we can go in through these loops and find those top 2 skin tone bands that should be coming from a diagonal. Loom them diagonally, go in again. It's kind of squishy and weird, but you'll find them. Loom diagonally, go back in through here again, and loom forward straight once. Like that. So we just have one band loomed from each side. So now we have to put the beard on. So go in with your hook to where we have them tied off. So if you would like, you can take the tying band off now, or you can take it off like when you've done the project. So you have these 4 loops on your hook. Go ahead and pick up these top 2 skin tone bands that we just loomed on the one side, and then pull them through those 4 silver bands and place this back on the pin without twisting it, where you got it from. Okay, so we'll do this on the other side, and this is kind of trickier because it's already attached. Sorry, my dad is playing music, so if you can hear it, sorry. So grab these 4 silver loops, remove the tying band if you want, and then we're going to grab these 2 skin tone bands on the side that we just loomed. Pull them through carefully, the 4 silver bands on our hook, and place these skin tone bands back to where they came from. Okay, so I hope that wasn't too tricky. It's probably nothing you guys can't handle. Just watch it again, take it slow. You can do it. And now we can continue looming the rest of the head. So we'll start with the center. So go back in through where we finished looming here. Loom this last 2 skin tone forward, and then we can go 3 more times forward. 1, 2, 3. Alright, and then stop when we get to this pin. So we can loom this skin tone forward, but we're going to have to attach a few more hair pieces. So stop when you get here. We're just going to make a single chain on our hook. So I'm taking silver, wrapping it around my hook so that there's 3 loops, pulling through a single band. I think I did it 5 times, hold up. Yeah, so I pulled through 1. We're going to do a second, third, 3, 4, 5. Okay. If you prefer to make it on the loom, just go down 5 times with a cap band. No big deal. Single chain. Okay, so we're going to loom these first gray ones. So grab them like you normally would, but before you place them on, grab the silver or white chain, slide it down around the loops, then place it onto the pin. Then finish looming it forward. Okay, so then we can loom forward one more time on the outside, dig down, grab these diagonal ones, and big stretch back to the center. Okay, we'll do this again on the other side. So we're going to loom forward these 2 skin tone normally. Make a single chain, 3 loops, and we'll pull through 5 single bands, wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, so I realize you don't actually have to do it as complicated as I did the other way. So just place this 2 loops around this pin where we finished looming. So just place it around the top of what am I saying? Okay, so we just finished looming the skin tone to this pin. Wrap these 2 silver bands around that pin as well. Pull them back, dig down, find those 2 gray bands. Loom forward 1 time, 2 times, and then our diagonal bands back to the center. Big stretch. Okay, dig down, find these 2 gray, loom them forward, and then we can tie them off. So put your hook through everything on this pin, pull the band through, tie off, like so. So pull them off carefully. Alright, so there he is. He looks a little bit funny at the moment, but we'll fix that up. So give things a tug, I like how his hair is a little bit crazier this time because it kind of fits his personality a little bit, but if you want to untwist any of these, you can play around with that a little bit. Okay, so now take the brim of the hat that we made earlier, and I'm kind of positioning it so that the knot that we did is on the back. So just put his head through the big opening and push it down a little bit so that it kind of sits where it looks appropriate for a wizard hat. His hair is so crazy. It was not like that when I did it with the jelly bands. Alright, so then we can hide these two loops on the end, on the back of his head. So I'm just kind of pulling, this stitch did not come out centered really at all. Okay, so I'm just pulling this top slip knot band down through his head. I'm going to come diagonally up this way just till it's hidden.